Did Manziel earn the starting job?
Stephen A. Molly, I'll say no. If you're asking me, does Johnny give them a better chance to win next week and the next, better than Josh McCown? I'll say no to that. I do think that Johnny played the best as a pro. I've seen him yesterday. Those were impressive yards. Now, a lot of them came in garbage time. A lot of them came with the game out of reach. And I didn't love the 6 sacks. I didn't love the interception that he threw on the run. But in general, I saw him throw with velocity and confidence and accuracy I have not seen consistently from Johnny until yesterday. But Mike Patton obviously is on the hot seat. If he's fighting for his job and he didn't even want to draft Johnny Manziel, clearly he wants to stay with Josh McCown because he gives him a little better chance to win a couple of more games down the stretch. But if this organization wants to figure out what Johnny is or is not, clearly, if you're playing for the future, you should go with Johnny now. If you want to win games, that may not be the way to go. Your thoughts?
Well, see, Skip, here's my thing. I'm of the mindset that I think that he's earned it from this respect. You brought Josh McCown in fully willing to recognize that he wasn't the future. And if he's not the future and you're 2-8 and you're not going to the postseason, isn't it time to find out whether or not Johnny Manziel is the guy? It's time to find that out once and for all. And even though I totally understand where Mike Patton is coming from, because he should be frustrated. Let's be fair to Mike Patton here. He's been dealt an unfair hand. Because even though you like Johnny Manziel, he didn't. And if he didn't, and he's the coach, and he had the GM siding with him, then the owner should not have stepped in and forced football guys that he assigned to run his football team to do things they didn't want to do. He should let them do what they want to do and then judge them accordingly and, if necessary, harshly. That's what he should have done. And that's my problem more so than anything else. I think Johnny Manziel's a playmaker. That's no doubt. But, Skip, here's the thing. As I look at Johnny Manziel's numbers, he's completing 59% of his passes this year, okay? Obviously, yesterday he looked better than he has. And even though he hasn't looked great and there's no 3-step, 4-step, 5-step drops where it's calling for him to be the conventional, prototypical quarterback, the fact of the matter is, Skip, he has shown that he has put in some work. And he has improved from what we saw last year. So if that's the reality and you're 2-8, why not just find out once and for all and get this circus atmosphere over with? We're going to give you the last 6 games to show us who you are, and we'll decide based off of that whether you will be here or not. That's where he has earned the starting nod, so the Cleveland Browns can move in a forward direction as opposed to torturing themselves and their fan base by this back and forth nonsense week to week. 6 games for Johnny Manziel is more than enough right now to find out whether or not he should be on this roster come next year.
And by the way, I'm not a Mike Patton fan. I remain a Johnny fan. So going forward, do I think Johnny could be more valuable to this franchise than Mike Patton? Yes. Do I think Mike Patton could be fired after this year? I'll be surprised if he's back next year. So you're exactly right. It would behoove the owner, Jimmy Haslam, to say, okay, that's enough of this. Let's just play Johnny and see what happens. See what we got.
Let's see what happens.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, Big Ben made quite the backup quarterback yesterday, showing out a ridiculous performance. More First Take after the break.